Hey, 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 welcome everybody. I'm back with another card making tutorial, and this one is going to consist of a lot of coloring, but honestly it's fun coloring. I didn't have to be too particular on where things were going. Flowers tend to be a little bit easier, especially this hydrangea, because you could just kind of get the color, you just needed to put some color down pretty much. All right, great. So we are using Brass and Bliss Heavenly Hydrangeas. I will have everything linked below if you are ever interested. I would love if you would use my links for affiliates. It helps my channel, keeps me being able to produce free content, and, helps me out. All right, so I am putting the large hydrangea and the smaller hydrangea down. Not the smallest, but the smaller one. There's a few on here. And unfortunately, I don't have the dies to this. They are available, but I didn't have the dies to this. So I was trying to figure out a way to use this, but not have to fussy cut it out, except for then I had to fussy cut it out. So I am stamping with my Intense Black ink from Honeybee Stamps. And we're going to have to do a little bit of masking. Not too much, but a little bit. So I did put that masking paper down right there. We're going to stamp down on this. It doesn't have to be the best impression that you get, but it does need, the outside lines need to be decent, because we are going to fussy cut this part down so that we can put the leaves behind it and the stems and that type of thing. This is going to be a pretty simple card, but I think it's pretty impactful in the way that I use the sentiments. We are focusing on sentiments this month, and I kind of loved that feature. For me, usually the sentiments is the last thing I think about. Maybe not the super last thing, but it is, it's not the first thing I think about when I go to design a card. So thinking about the sentiment first and how I wanted to get creative with sentiments was pretty fun. So I started looking through some, creative boards, and I found a really old video by Jennifer McGuire. If you do not know who that is, you need to go find her. She has amazing content, and honestly, this was a video from 4 or 5 years ago. So even her old stuff is so valuable. I love her ingenuity and the way that she just kind of uses supplies, and it gets your mind thinking in different ways. All right, so when you are masking, you always want to stamp the thing that you want to see first. So, and then mask that and then stamp the rest. So anything that goes behind the front image will be what you stamp later, which is this. So I wanted to hide those leaves in behind there, or put them underneath the flowers pretty much. All right, so yes, so I'm stamping those leaves and the stems to these hydrangeas. Now, this stem, I should not have stamped the bottom part of this stamp, because I wanted to extend it all the way down, and I just kind of forgot. I'm oops. But honestly, I was able to hide it pretty well, and I think I actually might have cut it off in the end results, because that's where I'm about to cut the card when you get to that part. I lined it back up though, and just kept on stamping. Like I said, I was able to hide it pretty well with the coloring in general, so I wasn't too worried about it. All right, so now we're going to take those masks off very carefully. I bought this masking paper off of Amazon. I don't love it. It's a little bit too tacky, honestly, and it rips my paper, so I don't recommend it. So I will not put it down in the links below. But I will try, I'm going to try some new masking tape here soon. And so that because I get asked all the time what masking tape I use, and I'm not going to recommend something that I don't love. So, yeah, for more of that to come. I got a few things that I'm going to. If you have any suggestions, please put them in the comments below. I would love to know what you guys are using for masking paper. All right, so there is our image. I'm loving it. It is, like I said, going to be pretty simple, but I think pretty impactful. All right, we're gonna shove you off to the side a little bit just so that you can see, and then so my camera doesn't get all wonky when my marker is catching the focus and all of that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, I am an amateur. And no, I'm just new to coloring and showing my coloring. I don't think that I am a pro at this by any means. This flower was, like I said, pretty easy to color, so I felt more comfortable coming on here and showing the coloring of this, but I always forget to put the caps down so that you guys can see them. If I see them throughout the video and can figure out what ones they were, because I also put them all away like a silly butt, I will let you know. But this is like a dark blue. I did stay in like the dark blue, light blue, purple, and green, as you can see right there. And I did the dark blue in the middle because obviously that is where your deepest shadow is going to be, like in the middle of the flower where the light isn't catching. And then carried out that light blue from there. I did keep them in like the blue purple-ish type of colors. And I think it turned out really pretty, honestly. So as you can see, I did just go through that whole flower and just put a little bit of blue. I used the artist drawn lines to just kind of sketch out little flicks pretty much from the center. And then I went in with my lighter blue, my mid-tone blue pretty much, and brought that out a little bit more. And then I went in with my lightest blue and pulled that out even more is what I'm doing right now. I am leaving a bit of room for the purple, but I will, for the most part, go use the purple over top of the blue and do a little bit of glazing to try and turn that blue a little bit. And then the green is going to be where I put, I just put a little bit of green because I feel like hydrangeas always have just a little bit of green in them. They're not completely all the way fully blue or fully whatever color they're going to be. They usually have a little bit of green, a hint to them. I love hydrangeas. They were the star of my wedding, but they die extremely quickly. So if you're going to use them, remember to have tons and tons of water around. I remember that I was like running around like rehydrating, which is in their name, hydrangeas, rehydrating all of the hydrangeas. Like they need more water. They're all dying. They just suck up water extremely fast. So if you are going to use them, just remember that. All right, so here you are. See me go in and put the purple down. Hopefully this is a pretty good angle for you guys. I'm going to keep on playing with it to see what different angles are better. But like I said, when I see a lot of artists go from top up. First of all, I color on top of my image pretty much. So it's just a little bit harder to see what I'm doing. So that's why I kind of went to the side. And then on top of it, my camera likes to grab the autofocus and, you know, do that wonky in and out focus thing. So I figured this might be a little bit better. Let me know what you think. What you think. Rule of thumb pretty much is wherever two lines meet, or if something is over top of something, that is where your shadow goes, and then you just bring it out from there. I'm still very new to coloring. I am getting better and better every day I practice. I did take a bit of a hiatus when I was sick, and I could tell completely that I did. I was like, woo! I watch a lot of Amy Young coloring videos on Sweet November Stamps, so check her out if you are interested. She is an amazing colorist. Another one I check out is Kelly Taylor. They do have two different styles of coloring, but in the end, it is the same pretty much. But yes, not Amy R. Amy R is a card person, but not the colorist. Amy Young definitely teaches you a ton, and you can find her in her Facebook group also on Saturdays and sometimes Sundays. coloring live, and I have learned so much from those guys. So definitely check her out. All right, we are going to move on to our leaves now. Again, I'm very sorry that I did not give you the lids to these. I will do that because I know so many of you struggle with the Ohulu marker combinations. Oh, there we go. GY1. Hey, I was trying. I was trying to get better at it. I think I realized that I hadn't done it through the hydrangea. So I was like, oh, let me try. We'll see if I go back. I did do this one a little bit different. Again, like I said, I am still learning a ton. And honestly, my greens are my hardest color combination for me in Ohulus. I don't know why, but I just haven't gotten the best color combination that I like. So I'm just working on that. So I did put my lightest down first, and then I am going to go over top of that with like my darkest. I'm pretty sure this is GY1 and 2, and GY1 and 2 are super the same, super close. So I was like sitting there like, that didn't help too much. Let's see what I pull here. I put it on top. I pulled an even darker. Who knows? Probably. I'm gonna say that this GY7 is what I'm gonna guess. I would say that this is the hardest part about Ohulu markers. As much as I love them, their color combinations are just rough. So I've been doing a ton of just figuring out the color combinations that I like, watching others like this color with Ohulus, and just practicing using my Sani Olak color chart is the best way also. And yeah, learning from there. All right, well, I just decided to show you just the GY1. I promise you, in future videos, I will get better at this. I will get better at this. All right, I don't believe that I go on to show you how I do the little one, since the little one is colored exactly like the big one. But I did start out by putting down some brown in the stem, and then I was like, oh, don't like that, and it really should be green with an alive flower. So you're going to see me pick up my green and kind of try and color glaze that down. I end up, what I do is kind of just put brown all the way through the stem to kind of camouflage that and get that out of there. As you can see right there, I think it's like BR3 I think I ended up going through, and just kind of color glazing them. And there you go. You can see I hit it pretty well. All right, so we're going to move on to the background because I don't have these dies, and I wasn't going to cut out all the leaves to mask this so that I could create a backdrop for this using my Ohulu markers. So what I did was use some of the same blues that I used in my hydrangeas, my lightest, I believe. Then I walked down to even lighter. I do believe these were the MG02Os, and I can't remember what the other one was, but I know that one of them was the MG020. And I literally just used the large side of that marker, the nib, and swiped. It was pretty much as easy as that, and then I just went over it and over it until I got a pretty smooth blend. Probably the smoothest I was going to get out of doing something like this. I do think that it needed a little bit of contrast, so I did go and start bumping it up. I'm like, oh, no, that's a little bit too dark right there. I think I grabbed the mid-tone of the hydrangea, and I was like, yeah, no, that was way too dark. So ended up grabbing another marker, as you can see, more of like a teal-ish, and went through. Again, I'm cutting this card down, so I'm not worrying too much about right at the edges of that. And then, like I said, just randomly going in spots, because obviously the sky, or whatever the background of this is, the sky, I'm hoping it's outside, is random. So I try not to think too much about this. This is where I do start doubting myself a lot when I am doing these type of cards, is like, does this look right? Is it, does it look silly? That type of thing. But you just have to keep on going. Sometimes you have to get through the mess in order to get to the other side. And that is pretty much what I had to do here. So I would just go straight back over those spots that I already did and just try and blend this all out. All right, so we're done with our backdrop. Look at that, nice and blended out. Is probably as much as we're going to get it to blend out there. But please also just leave a little bit of definition also. So like, I didn't want it like completely smooth, but all right. So this is also something that I don't normally do, is stamp directly on my card base. But I thought this time I could do it for sure. We can do it. Except for I made a mistake. I think I wiped my stamp with a what did I wipe it with? I wiped my stamp with something that I shouldn't have. I can't remember what it was. And it turned out really fuzzy. So we redid it, but this is the redo. You didn't even, or no, it's coming up. This is my template. So what I did is just use a scrap piece of paper. Yeah. Oh, right there. I used some paper towel. Don't do that. That's what I did. Right there. I was just coloring it with that paper towel. And I'm not going to notice that the paper towel, this is, cheap paper towel. So it just got all over my stamp. Anyway, so I stamped this out in a scrap piece of paper, like you can see there, so that I can put it down on my card and get it to a place where I like it. So here I am, just positioning this there. Then I'm going to use a bit of mint tape to hold this down so that I know exactly where to cut this card with my trimmer. So this is where, yep, I'm not going to tell you I wasn't nervous. This is the first time I was making this card also. A lot of the times on my channel, you are going to see footage from the first time I'm making my card. I have not made this card several times over and done it for you like a pro on this one. I am going through the trials and tribulations of making the card for the first time. So there I am. I'm using my Tim Holtz guillotine trimmer. I just pulled back that mint tape a little bit so that I didn't cut through that. That really, you could have just cut through it, but I was just like, whatever. And then I'm going to reline it back up on the other side, push that mint tape, yep, back. Make sure it's definitely lined up. And cut that one down. And there we go. Now I've cut my card base into three, technically two. I'm not going to use that one space in between there. Now I'm going to set my card base back in my MISTI. There we go, right in the corner. I'm also eventually going to put some mint tape in between the card base because that top spot was just pulling up a little bit and I wanted to make sure that everything was down and that I wasn't messing up anything. We're going to line this back up in the MISTI so that I can reposition the stamp to where exactly I want it to be on my card base. There we go. See that mint tape? That's why I didn't really want the mint tape to go anywhere because I knew I needed it. Oh, there we go. Right there. That was my mistake. I wiped that darn stamp with a paper towel. It's all good. I'm going to stamp this. You're going to see, I'm going to stamp this and be like, but it's on a card base. I will just cover it up with a full card base later. So I'm not too worried about it. It is what it is. We all make mistakes. Here we are. Watch this. You can't see it there, but it came out like super like fuzzy and like little things. And I was like, what did I do? All right, let's clean that off with a baby wipe instead. get a new card base out. We're going to score that again at your 5.5 because this is a top folding card base. All of my cards are usually 4.25 by 5.5. Not all the time, but sometimes. Also using my microfiber, I was like extra cleaning it this time. All right, new card base there. We're going to get that down by 5.5 and use, always looking for my bone folder. Always. There it is. And I'm always looking for everything, I feel like. And this day I had crafted a ton this day, so my desk was a hot freaking mess. I think this day I'd made a total of 3 cards, which I know that doesn't seem like a ton, but in my life that is a ton of cards in one day. All right, we are going to ink that back up. I am using VersaFine Onyx Black ink, I believe. That is my favorite for sentiments, but it is a pigment ink, so always be careful. It doesn't dry as quickly as dye inks do, so it does get me in trouble a little bit sometimes with how messy it is. But as you can see here, I'm giving it plenty of time to dry as I'm putting the foam tape down because I wanted to lift that colored base up a little bit. So I'm just using my giant roll of foam tape. This thing is huge. I got a pack of 2 and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with all this foam tape? I've already went through one, so I know what I'm going to do. I use a lot of foam tape. All right, we're going to put that back down. We are going to eyeball it a little bit. I think it's okay to eyeball as long as you get the top and the bottom straight. But this is what we're going to do. I think putting the sentiment and popping the rest of it up is just a different way of putting down a sentiment. So, all right, this was so much fun. I loved all the different ways that you can put a sentiment on your card. I will link the video to Jennifer McGuire's video where I got this idea from below. Definitely check it out. She has amazing ideas all of the time. And thank you guys all so much for being here. Don't forget to check out Brass and Bliss and all of their floral stamps and dies. And I will see you in the next one. Talk to you soon. Bye.